Okay. Yeah, we are starting, and I want to say welcome to tonight's session once more. For those that are helping me to tidy the house while I'm presenting, I have a group of co-hosts, so we've not really had a chance to meet and discussing, but you should start doing something. If you are one of them, if you are here, you can say hello. If you're one of my co-host person here, let me see you, because I want us to be okay. Clement, I can see your hand. Well done. At the end of the class, you give me list of noise makers. It's very important to me, because we need to start displaying some people. So as we cannot be adults, it's time to start the way we used to do it when we were in primary school and secondary school. We write names of noisemakers, and after them they will go and they cut grass. Okay, let's hit the ground running. Tonight is going to be continuing with the techniques. We are going to continue from where we stopped. We stopped at risk and issue management. So that's where we're starting. I'll start presenting and we'll start discussing it. Okay. Is risk and issue management. We start from risk management. So what is risk? We've looked at some documentation for risk when we are looking at document like risk register, red log. These are some of the documents we use to manage risk. So let's look at risk management in project management. Is very key, because like we know in project management, as a project manager, there is key factors that you need to look out, where the risk, like yesterday we are looking at critical method. These are areas that revolves around where you see timeline. Timeline is a major area where risk can be identified. So we're talking about risk, we're talking about scope in projects. How do we make sure that our projects remain within the scope of the project, remain within the budget, remain the timeline? So these are the three constraints: scope, budget, and timeline. If any of them goes wrong, the project can become sour. So, and these are the things you as a project manager, anytime you talk, even if you are in an interview, all you are trying to let them understand is that you know how to manage a project within budget, to be on within the time and within the scope. So that's what you are going to be trying to convince the hiring manager, that you can manage the project within these three constraints. And the only way you can do that is managing risk very well. Risk that can come out from that area. You need to have an eagle eye as a project manager, trying to spot it, to identify risk before it happens. Issues are risks that already happen, so we'll start working on it when it happens. So risk management is the process of identifying assessing, prioritizing, and responding to potential events that could impact a project. Its aim is to minimize the negative impact of the risk and maximize the chances of project success. So what are the key benefits of this risk management? Number one is proactive identification and mitigation of project risk, improve decision making based on risk analysis, increase project predictability and reduce the uncertainty, enhance communication and stakeholder buy-in. So these are the key benefits we derived. We make sure that we identify the risk on time and mitigate it. So once, it's not that risk will not come, but when you have risk management strategy in plan, once the risk is coming, you can just identify and mitigate it, and their project will still be healthy. So that is the key benefit. So then how do we manage this risk? How do we create a risk management plan? First is to identify risk through brainstorming. Brainstorming is meeting. Team members need to meet to brainstorm. Like I said earlier, most of the projects I worked on within agile, within waterfall environment, we use RAID meeting, where we create RAID logs. So, and within that RAID meeting, we'll be documenting all the potential risk and issues within the RAID log. So that brainstorming is a meeting. So through workshop, historical data. So these are areas we can identify risk. These are sessions through which we can identify risk. So during RAID meeting, we go over through our activities to see where we have potential danger or where we have risk. We look at our timeline, we look at our budget, we look at our scope, we look at team members, who is delaying deliverable, who are not submitting their deliverables. When you have team members that are not always submitting their deliverables, these are where risk can come from. So some of these team members must be fished out and know why they are not being prompt with their deliverables. So these are key areas. A team member is sick, you must have strategy to make sure that when a team member is sick, there is a replacement. A team member is going on vacation, holiday, you must know ahead of time that a team member is going on holiday and make arrangement for replacement. You know, a team member is going on annual maternity leave. These are areas, if you don't manage this kind of issue very well, this kind of event very well, it can turn out to become a very dangerous issue in the project. So these are various risks. Within myself, what I'm doing is brainstorming general risk. So as a team, project varies. So you look at your project and then try to understand various risks involved. Let me use, for instance, our event of meeting up. What are various risks within an event? Please, if you are on, put your this in on silent so that my voice will start recurring, or stop recurring. So, in this event we are planning, which we call meetup in a various states, we can come as a team. So we are trying to meet up on Saturday or on Sunday, you know, to get to know ourselves, discuss various means we are going to work together, and not just only working remotely. We need to get together and do things. this is a big event. You know that. Is an opportunity for us to see ourselves together, make friends, network, become more, we are meeting, all of us here are professionals. So a way to excel in this kind of career is through networking. And again, in a project, it's good to meet together. So in Agile said that the best way is constant collaboration. So meeting is good, but it can come with a lot of uncertainties, danger, risk. So how do I associate risk in this kind of event? So if we are now saying we are going to meet and say we are planning for it, and as a team we came together, we say, okay, let's brainstorm on various risks that can stop or hinder this our meeting. Then we can say on Saturday, everybody, maybe a lot of people are not working on Saturday. That's a good time. So if you are meeting on Saturday, is it a rainy season? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be open event? Is it going to be closed event? If it's going to be open event, outdoor open event, what is the probability of raining that day? Is it going to rain that day? That can be a risk that can, if it's an open event outdoor. When it rains, everybody, it messes so how do we identify such risk and start working, making sure that we have a mitigation plan against all those things? So I just use rain as an example. When we brainstorm now, you see that we can brainstorm so many risks, but we are coming to that and see how we can brainstorm so many risks in our event. So when we identify a risk, the next is assess the likelihood and impact of each risk. Develop risk mitigation strategy. The risk mitigation strategy could be avoid the risk, transfer the risk, or accept the risk. So these are various risk strategies. Then once we've identified a risk, the next is to assign an ownership and monitor the implementation of the risk response. Ownership is that we need to find someone who have good knowledge of that risk we've identified to manage it. For instance, I identified rain in our event. So how do we mitigate such risk? We can mitigate such risk by saying, okay, it's likely to rain. Let it not be outdoors. So we can have it in an event hall or town hall or something like that. We can say, okay, let us have a canopy. Even if it's raining, we will be under the canopy. Another one is that, okay, if certainly it's going to rain, some of us that are Africans, we believe in traditional magic where we invite the rainmakers who can hold the rain. We say, okay, let's get someone who got good knowledge. Maybe you say Clement is a very good traditionalist that can get us some of these traditionalists that can hold the rain. So if somebody that got good knowledge of that risk, maybe like I said, a traditionalist, or somebody who is very good in event management, we can say, okay, because of this, you've handled the event like this. Okay, handle this. That's why when I was starting, I say, if you have prior knowledge of this, is aware of risk management. So I'm looking at someone who have got knowledge of event management that have maybe out of historical historical data, maybe like claimants have said that when they are in the digital witch, you've handled so many events like this. So because of this kind of situation, it's okay, you've handled this kind of event before, you can own this risk, manage it as we are meeting. So these are ways of, managing it and getting a good ownership of that risk. That's how we can, within ourselves, assign an owner to the risk and regularly review and update the risk management plan throughout the project. So the best practice in doing this risk management is encourage a culture of open communication about risk. Talk about, some people while in a project, they tend to keep everything close to their chest. They don't want, when you are in a project, your deliverable is not, it doesn't belong, it's not your personal property. The deliverable you are working on belongs to the team. Every team member, as a matter of fact, should know what you're doing. You don't keep it to your chest. It's my deliverable, I'm working on this. It's not supposed to be. The project, you see, you are a business analyst. You are working on a requirement and you are hiding it. You don't want the project manager to see your deliverable because it's they said it's a BA call. No. Or you don't want developers to, no, everybody, this requirement you are capturing, yeah, you are the BA working on capturing and analyzing the requirement. But the project manager remains the overall accountable for all the deliverables. And the deliverables are the requirements you are working on, capturing and refining. Who is going to work on those requirements? Developers. So there is no need for you to keep it to your chest because it belongs to the team. So that's where the open communication and transparency comes in here. Allocate resources for risk management activities. Conduct regular review to assess changes or changing project condition. Document lesson learned from risk management throughout the project. We spoke about this lesson learned. It's a big, is a very valuable document to the organization because it helps, like I'll be talking about this, our meetup event. And somebody who have conducted, some of us that have handled this situation before, all they need to do is apply lesson learned from what the one they've conducted during their days in Digital Witch. So here, the conclusion about risk is that risk management is an essential practice for any project. By proactively managing risk, you can increase your project's success rates and achieve better outcomes. So we are not going to look at the examples of risk or document. We are going to use one document both for issue, risk and issue, which is RAID-log. So we're going to look at approach of kind of example of approach to manage risk, which is RAID-log. But let's look at issue and then summarize it by looking at the approach. Issue here is identifying, like I said, issue is a risk that already happened. When we are trying to manage risk, we are trying to manage risk to make sure that it doesn't happen. But eventually you find out that some of them will still, no matter how you manage them, they will still happen. So you manage it as, as an issue. Or this is the time you say, you look at here, accepting it. it has happened. There's nothing you can do. All you need to do is try to minimize the impact, the negative impact on the project. So issue management is the process of identifying, documenting, resolving, and tracking issues that arises during the project. It ensures that the issues are addressed promptly and effectively to minimize the impact on the project. It has happened already. So what we are trying to do here is to make sure that the adverse effects or the negative impact is not too much. It's not going to derail the project. So benefit of issue management, number one, improve problem identification and resolution through the project, increase project transparency and accountability, reduce project delay and cost overrun caused by the unresolved issues, enhance communication and collaboration around the issue resolution. So these are, if you have issue management plan, these are key benefits we are going to drive. If you don't have a plan, it's going to be chaotic, you know, when such a thing happens, or maybe all of a sudden we run out of money in your project and we don't have any plan, no contingency plan. That is dangerous. You can't even imagine yourself in a project like that. You run out of money, no contingency plan, so. But when you have issue, if eventually it becomes a risk, eventually you couldn't control it and it happened, then you must have an issue management plan. If I'm managing a project, I must have a contingency fund. If I have 10,000 pounds to run a project, that is the budget. If I'm starting that project, I'll start with 7,000 pounds as my budget and keep 3,000 and contingency plan. If eventually I run out of that 7,000, then I can fall back on the rest 3,000, which is a contingency plan. And the program manager or the stakeholder will not even find out that I've got a situation because I've got the situation under my control. So how do we create this issue management? So the process runs this way. First, identify a clear process for identifying and reporting issue, such as RAID log. Establish a system for documenting and tracking issues, just like issue log, logging it in RAID log. Assign ownership and responsibility for resolving the issue. Develop a process for escalating unresolved issue or critical issue. There should be a way to escalate situation like that. I said, first, try to make sure that it doesn't happen. If it happens, have a plan, have a strategy. I'm talking about fund. I have 10,000 pounds to run my project, to create my e-commerce website. And as an experienced project manager, I decided to kickstart the project with 7,000 pounds. And eventually, I find out that even the 10,000, the 3,000, I'm equally running out of that 3,000. So immediately, I fall into the 3,000, which is my contingency plan. Then that should be a red flag for me to have another more contingency plan. So this time around is for me to, you know, send a signal or have it discussed with bring the discussion to my stakeholder. Look, this is what is happening, but it's under control. Eventually, if it happened, then the next thing is to, before it happened, I know it's going to happen, you send a mitigation, exceptional circumstance form, a documentation, exceptional circumstance, requesting for more money or explaining what is going on. You have to be transparent to your stakeholders. You can't just keep quiet. Before you hit that red button, you should have sent signals to the stakeholder that you are running out of funds. So that is a way of escalating this issue. You must have a plan to escalate, so to avoid it being so critical, and monitor issue resolution process and track trend to identify the root cause. You must do a root cause analysis. Root cause is digging deep. Why this happened? You must find out why it happened, and you stop it. The best practice is encourage open communication and early reporting of issue. Like I said, you don't need to, once you hit your contingency plan, it's time for you to start, letting the stakeholders know, look, this is the situation. Utilize a standardized issue management tool for effective tracking and resolution. Conduct root cause analysis to identify the underlying cause of issues and prevent the occurrence. Learn from the issue and adapt project process to improve future performances. So that is where the lesson learned comes in again. You have to learn from your past mistakes. Conclusively, a well-defined issue management process is essential for proactively addressing challenges and ensuring project success. By effectively tracking and resolving issues, you can minimize their impact and improve the overall project efficiency. So now we have, we've been spoken, we talk. It's time for us to try to look at how do we do this. Okay, we have different methods of managing this, but let's adopt one, like we discussed about risk register or issue register and RAID log. But I choose RAID log because RAID log is more scalable. So let's look at this RAID log and then try to understand what is this RAID. Like I said, that RAID, when we talk about RAID, R stands for risk, A stands for assumption, I for issues, and D for dependencies. So RAID log is a project management tool used to store several project information in one place. So like I say, it's very scalable, that it can contain a lot of information within the risk, within the assumption, within the issue, within the dependencies. And these are various factors that can really derail your project if not properly addressed. When we talk about risk is something that will have a negative impact on the project if it happens and can lead to quality delay or cost problem. Assumptions are those factors that are taken for granted but cannot be guaranteed and may impact the results of the project. Issues are incidents that cause the project to become out of alignment. is a risk that have already occurred. Dependencies are those activities that need to start or be completed in order for the project to proceed successfully. So you can see all these four factors. If not properly managed, they can cause the project to be out of alignment. And that's why we want to, store all of them in one document called RAID log, where we have regular meeting and monitor all these items in the RAID log. So why this? It keeps the project organized and on track, makes the information easier to store and retrieve, useful document in regular project meeting and audit, gives confidence that the project is under control. So how do we do that? A good practice is to create a RAID log from the beginning of the project. Before the project starts, you create a RAID log and regularly update it as regularly as possible within a regular meeting. And that's why now we are trying to start an event. Event is a big project, This meeting, meetup meeting we are planning in various states is a big event. And we are just starting. So, like we say here, how do we start? Is to start from the beginning. So we are starting. That's why I want us to start. We have to create a RAID log and start now to identify the risk. So now we are starting. So look at how this RAID is. First is category, and then description, then priority, and then status. It's very simple. It's a very simple process. Within the categories, when you identify an issue, you select the category it belongs. You describe the kind of issue, and then you determine whether it's low or high. Team will do a brainstorming to determine, or you can use a probability index matrix. To do that, we'll have a brief look at probability index matrix to decide the severity of an issue or a risk. And then the status, you must always state the status. If you mitigate a risk or an issue, it should be closed. As long as it's not been mitigated, it should be remained open, so that we know the amount of challenges facing us. When we look at open, here we are looking at how many open issues here. We can see how many challenges this problem is facing. But when we see everything is closed here, then we can go and sleep. So this is how the dashboard is. Within the dashboard, you can see the dashboard, every of the activity or every of the factor here, issue, factor, assumption, they have their own column where we capture what is going on there and look at it. It gives us overall picture of how healthy our project is looking. If all our project is in critical in red color, then it's a big problem for the project manager. Even if all of them here is in amber color, which is high, it's a big problem for us. Even moderate, we are looking at where we have low or negligible or none. So these are situations we are looking at for us to see that our project is healthy. So this is a way a project manager track the performance. As you can see, with this, you can track the performance of your project, knowing how healthy your project is or not. Clement, I hope you are capturing. If I ask you to submit the names of noisemakers and you don't do that, you are in trouble. Okay. We've thrown the noisemaker out of the house. Okay, let's look at how to log in an issue, assumption, risk within the RAID log. This is it here. Like I said, within the category, anyone here, you see this is issue, you capture issue, give it a category, describe it, the impact, the owner, the priority, risk priority number, and the status. This is very simple. Then let's look at PI metrics, call it priority probability index metrics or probability impact metrics. So this is how this PI index works. First, it's going to help us to prioritize all these risks we are capturing here so that we'll have a benchmark or a measurement to decide when our issue is becoming critical or when it's moderate. It's not gonna just be out of intuition. We apply some bit of professionalism. Here is it. The probability impact matrix is a method that helps to identify which risk needs your attention the most. The combined probability and impact score of individual risks are simply plotted into two-dimensional matrices. Threshold for low, moderate, high risk can be shown on the matrix, which can help in rating the risk. Risk can be moved around the matrix as a result of implementing the risk response. So looking at this matrix here, you see under the PI, we capture it as certain, likely, possible, unlikely, then rare. Okay. Looking at, let me see how many of us are really following. In this our event, we are planning, looking at the months of the year, what is the PI of raining? Can somebody just let's see if we're
most likely.
Yes,
Good.
likely.
Most likely.
Okay, good. You can see how we quickly responded to that. But is there any most likely here? I say looking at this PI, what do we say? I can't see most likely here.
Likely.
Likely is there.
Likely.
Likely is
Possible.
Likely is there.
Okay. Now, this is showing that we are really understanding what we are doing. So if it's likely, then you can see here is moderate. But if it is certain, then is 5 moderate. But if it's likely, it's 4 moderate. So if it's likely, we are working as a team, we can say, okay, because some people who can just create a vote, we can create a pool out of these. Like we can say all of us are likely, no, not likely, certain, possible. We can quickly create a pool and say, okay, let's vote and see how this is going to work. All of us know these are something I want us to start doing within our group. Not all this chatting, this using foul language, this, and I don't want it. I want to be seeing professional chatting in our various groups. In this, our event we are planning, we can say, okay, what is the probability of raining? Some people, there is disagreement already among ourselves in every group because some people say certain is going to rain. This is April. It's likely to rain. Some say no, it's not likely. It's certain it's going to rain. It's raining every day. Some people say possible. Some people. So if we can say, let's put it in a vote, and we create a poll in our group. You know, in a WhatsApp group, you can create a poll and where people can vote. Then whichever way, then you can see this is a brainstorming. This is how a team works in a project management. If the majority says likely, then we go for likely because that's what the majority. If the majority say certain, we go for this probability most moderate. And once we go for 5 moderate, that is under minor, or we call it is 10 high, and under moderate is critical. And these are how we plot these and then be able to know which one is more critical. So we capture it. Here is let's say certainly. Under certainly, here is it insignificant? Is it significant if it rains that day? What is the significance of rain? Now we are saying certainly it's going to rain that day. Okay, everybody knows that it's going to rain. But what is the significance of rain on that particular event day? So we capture the significance of rain. Then under minor, do we consider rain as a minor issue, or which we should, what do we classify? Under moderate, what do we say here? Under, for me, is a critical issue, is a critical, let's not say extreme, because someone is not dying. But it can be, 20 critical. So these are how we can use probability impact to weigh it, and not just you have something to work on as professional, not just cracking our brain saying, so this is how we can apply this PI metrics when we're doing a RAID meeting. So that is what we are doing, a RAID meeting. Doing a RAID meeting, we can be using this to evaluate the probability and the impact of any risk. Once we come up with the impact, we can come over here and put it here as a priority. Under the priority, if we capture as critical, we capture it as critical. If it's low, we capture it as, this is where we are documenting it after the analysis. After using this PI as analysis during the meeting, we do the documentation here. So this is how we are going to do that. I have a risk. I have a template we are going to use, which I'm going to share to every group to have access to that. So this is a live RAID log, which we are going to be using. So now let's look at the log. This is the dashboard. Well, let's look at this log here. This is how this is looking here. So if we are trying to capture risk here, we said we've captured raining on our event day. If we capture raining here as a risk, we describe it here, rain. And then we'll come here, we decide, is raining, is it an issue? Well, we cannot call it an issue because it has not happened. But there is probability of it raining that day, and we need to put, so because it has not happened, of course, it's not assumption. Assumption is something we assume that's going to happen. And dependency is, no, it can't be a dependency because it's not activity that is depending on any activity. So it cannot be dependency. So it can be a risk that can, you know, when it happens, it can put our project out of alignment. So you see a drop down here, we select risk. So, and then we'll come over here. We can give it, say, raining on our event. Raining. So, and here we'll capture the impact of that rain. What is the impact? If it rains that day, as a team, what do we think is our impact? It's something we can brainstorm as a team and decide the impact of that rain on that day. Nobody is going to be happy. And based on the experience, let me continue using Clement. Clement claimed that he has been, he's the champion of event in Equis class. So we say Clement, because you are the champion of event management meetup. Okay, you are going to be the owner of this. You own this risk. And then we'll decide using our PI metrics to decide the priority. We'll brainstorm as a group and say it's going to be high. Let's not just put it at critical. So it's high. And then we put the number here. This number we can decide within a scale of 1 to 10, and we give it a number. And then we can give it number or cannot. And then we come over here, we say, because it's still a risk, we have not identified a solution to it. We leave it this way. But if eventually we say that we've come as a group and decide that, yeah, this is going to be an open event. Let's say, for instance, some people that are in Lagos, say, or Lagos Island, okay, say, we are going to have this event in Bar Beach, and we are going to put a canopy there. So even if it's raining, all we need to do is go into our canopy, and we'll be safe. And if it's not raining, we can just leave our canopy alone, and everybody will have fun. So if we decide that it's a canopy we are going to use, then we'll make arrangement for the canopy, pay for the canopy. Then once we pay for the canopy, we close this. It's no longer a risk because it's already taken care of. It's a risk, and we've paid for canopy to take care of that. This is how I have managed this particular raining risk in that our event. this is just an example, which I want you people to brainstorm. So this is going to be, you can clean this thing up. You see, if I do like this, I'll delete it. And you see it's clean now, even this one. I'll leave this so that few people will use it as an example when capturing. But if here you see, you can always select, type the risk, and use this method to document your risk or document your issue or dependency or assumption. So this is how we are going to use this RAID log. I want you to do it as a group. This particular thing, I'm going to share it in group, and I'll equally put it in the assignment area in our course portal so that everyone can have access to it and download it and keep it as your personal document if you wish to. So, and while we do it as a team, I want you to, everybody, to do your own individually and go to our group in WhatsApp, because once you attach it, I have to download it, and I don't have time to be downloading 1,000, how many people. So all we need to do is post it in your, go to our group, everybody upload your own, and I'll have time to scroll and look at. If you are not getting it, I'll make a comment to correct you. So that's what we are going to be doing. That's why I say every area I want us to be, there is a reason, because it's going to help us in one way. If you ask some of the people I work with, that's my way. So I'll look into what you do, and then, yeah. So it's just for you. If you want to learn, you do what I ask you to do. But if you're already more intelligent, you already know it, good and fine. So this will bring us to the end of risk and issue management. And because of time, we'll quickly move fast. This class is going to be more than 1 hour. Sorry if you are hoping that by 8 o'clock we're already done. So because I want us to finish this and want us to be faster with meet other deliverables in this boot camp. So we talk about stakeholder management. Stakeholder management is the process of identifying, understanding, and managing the expectation of those who are affected in the project. It involves proactively engaging stakeholders, addressing their need and their concern, and ensuring their continued support for the project. So it's very clear, it explains everything clear. So I don't need to dwell on explaining this very much. So what is the benefit? Increase stakeholders buy-in. What is buy-in? Support. When stakeholder, you are looking for stakeholder buy-in, you are looking for stakeholder buy-in. So I'm trying to use the right word where, when you, as a project manager, these are the keywords we are going to be seeing. We'll call it jargons in project management. So increase stakeholder buy-in and commitment to the project goal. Improve project decision-making through diverse perspective. Reduce project risk associated with stakeholders resistance. Like, you know, stakeholders resistance, if they are not supporting you, then it can be a big risk. Like some of you in the event, you know, you need to buy stakeholders support. You see some of you, they posted their link twice and I deleted it. What is it telling you? I'm not supporting what you are doing. So I'm the stakeholder here. You see other people, they've already started planning their projects. They already started looking for venue, and I'm still deleting your link. I don't want you to create a group because I believe you are not doing the right thing. So you need to find out what you are doing wrong, how to appease me, to support you, so that you can move on with others. You can continue if you don't, if you are not a good project manager and sees this as a risk. For me, if I'm a project manager in this year group, I'm the leader in Lagos Island, I create a link for a mini group and I delete it twice. You should capture it as a risk. Why is this man not supporting me? I've seen other people creating groups and their groups are going, but once I create my own, this man delete my own group. Does it mean this man hate me that much? I don't even know you. I don't know any of you. Some of you do not even put pictures there. So you won't say that maybe the picture, in your picture, you are not so beautiful or you are not so handsome. That's why I don't like you in your picture. That's why I'm always deleting your delivery. No, it's because you are doing the wrong thing. So that is what I mean by buy-in. Is a word I want you to understand very well because you need it as a project manager. So, and it's a risk if you don't know how to buy stakeholders in. So, if I deleted your this thing twice, it means I'm being resistant. So, you need to find why I'm being resistant and try to, buy me in. Buying me in, I'm not inviting me for in a beer pot to buy me a cup of drink. Just do what I want to do. Try to understand what I want and do it. That's how you can buy me in a project. So what the last benefit here is that it enhances project communication and collaboration. So how do we create stakeholder management plan? The first thing is to identify all the stakeholders. I told you we'll have external stakeholders, we'll have internal stakeholders, we'll have sponsors, we'll have different types of stakeholders. Try to identify all of them. Analyze stakeholders' power, influence, and interests in the project. Some stakeholders are very influential, like the sponsor. In this, our event, I'm the person that started this event, meetup event. I created it. So I'm the sponsor here because it's my brainchild. There's something I want to see out of it. You cannot come and claim that it's your initiative. So you have to understand what I want to achieve, why I created this event, meetup event. If you are working on your own intuition or your own intelligence, without carrying me along, you are going to fail because the way you create an event might not be what I'm really trying to look at. You might just create an event where you just go there and be showcasing your riches, come here to display how rich they are. But for me, this is not what I'm looking for. I want to see how you organize your team. I want to see how you people are brainstorming about this project boot camp. I want to see how people are brainstorming on the upcoming book projects. But if you are, for you, it's a time for us to have fun. No, it's a network event for us to just come out and just have fun. It's not for fun. It's for more active engagement and learning. So this is why you have to understand what I want and do it. So you have to understand the influential stakeholders and understand what they want. Analyze stakeholders' power, influence, and their interests. Here you know Charles is a major stakeholder, is an influence, is a sponsor, and because of that, you've got power, you've got high influence. What is his interest? He wants active collaboration, you know. This is my interest. So if you are working towards that, you are achieving the project goal. Define communication strategy and engagement plan for each stakeholders group. Develop process for managing stakeholders' expectation and addressing their concern. Monitor stakeholder satisfaction and make adjustments as needed. So you must make sure that I'm satisfied with what you are doing. As a matter of fact, when you are creating good deliverable, you'll be getting a lot of thumbs up from me. But if you are not posting it, I'm not gonna give you any thumbs up. I'll even delete some of them. And that is not what you are going to like to see as a project leader. Okay, what is the best practice here? Build strong relationship with key stakeholders throughout the project. Communicate openly and transparently with all stakeholders. Manage stakeholders' expectation proactively and address concern promptly. Involve stakeholders in key project decision when appropriate. You know, some of you have just kept quiet, but I've seen some people talking about contributing money, doing this and that. You are not involving me in the event. I see some of you talking about contributing money. Have I approved it? Are you contributing money for what? Have you discussed issue of contributing money for? You need to let me know why you are contributing money for me to, because I don't want a situation you use that you are the project lead to start ripping other people off. It's not going to happen under my watch. So I'll make sure that if you want to have a light refreshment within your project, or you want to hire a canopy, then we'll discuss it and I'll approve it. Then we'll decide what kind of canopy. We'll brainstorm about the price so we know how much we are looking for. These are some of the things you need to do. Carry me along. You don't start doing it in isolation. You are doing it in isolation, you're on your own. I will disapprove it. This is where you see stakeholders not approving what you are doing because you are not carrying them along. I've seen some of you already talking about money, money, money. Don't do that. You need to be diligent when it comes to money. I don't like ripping people off. When it comes to money, be careful with me. You know, because this is something I don't like. We agree that at some point in this project, we are going to contribute some money, but that money we are going to contribute, we are going to see where it's going in. And everybody must benefit from it. If you are paying for something, you are expecting something. If we are saying we are going to have a bottle of Coke and a meat pie, everybody that pays, you have their list of people that are paid for Coke and meat pie. If it's 10 people, then when you are coming to the event, you are bringing 10 meat pie and 10 bottles of Cokes. If eventually we have 20 people turning out to that event, and those that didn't pay, that is their business. It's only those people that are paid that are getting what they paid for. You can't say because, okay, today we had 20 people that attended and we already have 10 bottles of Coke. Okay, let's share it. No. So this is what you'll be doing where you need to be transparent, because most of the time where some stakeholders, they start frowning. When they start feeling that the project manager is mismanaging fund, misappropriation of fund in a project, they start frowning. You start seeing their support, they start supporting you. So it's because you are not carrying them along. Okay. Let's crack on. Here is transparency. That's why we're discussing. Manage stakeholders' expectation proactively and involve them in key decision making. Conclusively, effective stakeholder management is essential for bringing consensus and ensuring project success. By understanding and managing stakeholders' expectation, you can gain their support and navigate potential challenges more effectively. Okay, who are even the stakeholders? Let's look at, in an organization, let's see, we have organizational stakeholders and we have project stakeholders. This first list here, we are looking at list of people that can be stakeholders in an organization. Some of these people being stakeholders in an organization, because what I'm trying to address this is that when they say stakeholders, some people will be mistaking organizational stakeholders to project stakeholder. And because you see a CEO is in the organization, is a big guy, you feel that he's the biggest stakeholder in this organization, and everything I'm doing in this project, the CEO must know. No. A CEO might not know what you are doing in your project. He is not your sponsor. What if the marketing manager is the person that initiated the project? So the marketing manager here can be the sponsor. So if you are trying to go and get attention of a CEO in your project, you are making a mistake. That's why you have to understand who is your stakeholders in a project, because all the people in the organization are not project stakeholders. So first, list of people in the organization. These are organization stakeholders. All the employees are stakeholders in the organization, senior executives, shareholders, customers, suppliers and contractors, end users, family of employees. They are all stakeholders. For instance, your son is a stakeholder where you are working. Because if your son is not feeling well, you can say, I'm not going to work today because I need to take my son to hospital. You can see the way your son's activity is now affecting your own activity in the organization or in the project. If your wife put to bed and you are working, you can decide to get a 2 leave. It's not that, is your right, paternity leave, to stay at home and look after your wife. So you can some people will say, is it you that put to bed, but is your wife, is your family? So you are entitled to a paternity leaves. So because your wife put to bed, you can see how your wife is now a stakeholder. Investors, lenders, partners, unions, and regulators, these are stakeholders. Community group, they are stakeholders. Where the organization is residing, like for instance, if you go to Riverine area in Nigeria, like Port Harcourt or Delta area, you see all these Ijaw youths demanding for one right or the other from all these oil companies. These are community groups. They are stakeholders because it's their land, and what you are doing there is their oil, you know. So we have media. They are stakeholders. You know, all of us know the power of media. Once they fire you on social media, a company will start shaking. We see this company called Erico that deals on food. You can see the kind of scandal. These are media, what media can do. Then government. A local council can come and clamp down what you are doing because they say you don't pay their local permits, or there are so many permits you pay in local government or local council. So that's why they are stakeholders. So then these are stakeholders in the organization. Let's see, I've skipped the project stakeholders. So I'll need to add the project stakeholder, but there's project stakeholders I need to add here, but I skip it. I'll add it later. So it won't be, but it just project stakeholders are project managers, project team members. Some of these people in the project, in the organization, can still make it in the project stakeholders. But less, because we don't have time. I don't want to start opening other documents to get this project stakeholders list of them here. So now this is what you need to do. First, you need to identify them. What we are looking here is what we call metrics. We call this power grid, stakeholder influence and power grid. So once you identify stakeholders, what you need to do is identify stakeholders based on their power and interest. You can see here in this grid here, power grid here, you can see power and interest here. So you have to capture them based on their power and based on their level of interest. So here we have some of them that have high power and then have high interest. These are key players. Then we have some of them that have high power and low interest. These are context setters. Some of these people, all you need to do is identify them, identify their need, and satisfy them. Some of them can be local authorities, regulators of industries. All you need to do, look at what the law is talking about the project you are running. Make sure you meet the regulation. If you are working in construction environment, make sure that all your health and safety rules is in order. The fire extinguishers, their expiring date is intact. Some of these things are requirements you need to meet within the health and safety. Health and safety, when they are coming to construction site where you are working, they are not going to tell you. They will just, visit. And if you are doing the wrong thing, endangering the life of people working in that site, they will close the site without even any warning. So these are the people you need to try to satisfy their need. They don't have individual need. It's what about the law? What is the law talking about? If you are working in a data-related project like this, for instance, Dynamics 365, we are creating an application, we are doing data migration. Do you know what the law says about the data management? Data protection is a big law. So when you're handling such projects, you must understand the need. What are the needs? Like the GDPR, what is this talking about? What do you need to do in terms of GDPR regulation, data protection act? You need to understand it if you are working in a digital or data related project like what we are doing. Then stakeholders like the sponsor, these are the key players here. You need to manage them actively. Nothing should come to them as a surprise. These are the big boys. They own this project. Then we have some stakeholders who are, we call them crowd. Inform them of what you need to do occasionally, monitor them. In some cases, some people like the operatives in our work environment can fall into this group. If you're in construction sites, we have people like laborers, electricians, bricklayers, plumbers. These people are, operatives working in that construction site. You need to monitor them to make sure that they are doing what they are supposed to do. This kind of people, if you don't monitor them, like I said earlier, they are interested that they have a job. They don't know what you are seeing as a project manager. They don't know that you are sitting on a hot seat. They want to derail this project. They want this project that lasts for 6 months, that is already planned for 6 months, to last for 1 year, so that they can have a regular place they are going to work. That is their main goal, to have a place to go to work and get paid. They don't want that. They want the project to run forever, not knowing that that is not the original plan. So if you don't monitor them, they are not going to do anything. So that what they are going to do today, they are going to do it then tomorrow. If tomorrow and you don't monitor them, they will push it so they can do it. And it means they have more days to go to site. And such people should be monitored closely. Okay, if you are working in IT projects, just like ours, if you are developing a enterprise application, you are developing a mobile application or e-commerce website, and you hired a developer, a freelancer from India working with the person, I know what I do with so many of them. You chase them around because they have so many other projects they are working remotely on. We know all those things. So if we don't chase them, if you don't monitor them, they are not going to do your job. You have to push, following them, pursuing them. Those developers can fall into this group of people called crowd. You need to push them to get this job done within the time. You have defenders here, keep them informed. These people here, if you come to your organization, if you are working in, let's use CRM projects, these are people that are going to work with that CRM. If you finish that CRM and deploy it, these are people that are going to be working on that CRM on a daily basis. Such people are sales reps, marketing agents that are going to be using that. They want to know how is this new technology going to look like, because this is where they are going to be working. They want to know how it's going to look like. You know, for instance, let's look at a housing project. Maybe the council is trying to renovate a construction, a council building. We have people living in that building. So whatever you are trying to do, maybe it's part of the park they are renovating and they cover it up. So those people living around the park are going to use it. Their children are going to use it. They are going to be, you know, so inquisitive. They want to know the outcome of this council project because they are going to use it. So in this, it's very good you have a way of communicating to the council residents, letting them know the progress of the council work going on in the playground. Maybe they are trying to build a new playground for them. So these are you keep them informed so that they are going, because they want to know. So that is it. How you capture, you plot all the stakeholders within this place. So all the stakeholders, if you have 5 stakeholders, you can plot them here. But we have a document we are using, which is not going to be this grid. We are going to be using Excel to make this work so easy for us. So these are key documents we are going to use here. I've captured them here, and I will show us live how we are going to use it. This one is going to go. So here is it here. We've seen this document before. This stakeholder analysis document. This is where you identify your stakeholders by their name. And then this is where you capture their level of interest and level of awareness and where you want them to be. And this is what we call communication action sheet. We've seen this document before. You capture stakeholders and the method of communication and how often. We've discussed this before. So I'm not going to waste so much time in this area because we've seen that before. So what we need to do here is to look at the document we are going to use here for this stakeholder, because you need to create your own stakeholder. This is the live document here. This is it. This is a stakeholder analysis document. Here you capture the stakeholder's name here. So, and here, for instance, here in this our project, we call it project name, project number, you can say 01 because the first project name, meetup, and date, you put date here. And then here you capture your first stakeholder. You say Charles. And then position in the organization. You say, okay, the role in the project. Okay, power. Okay, level of awareness. Well, at this point, Charles should be aware of everything you are doing. Yes, should be aware. And then the level of interest, high interest. And supportive. Well, if you are doing the right thing, I will always support you because I want your success. And you see, you captured me and my involvement level. So I'm a high-powered stakeholder. I'm very influential. And based on interest, power and interest, high. Then you come here, the current, what is the level of, when you start working with you, you have to start trying to know if I'm supporting you or I'm not supporting you. For those of you who have started collecting money without my knowledge, well, I'm not aware. Am I aware? Did you inform me? You didn't inform me, so I'm not aware. You have to tell yourself the truth when you are going to do stakeholder analysis so that you know when you are putting yourself in trouble. Then here, am I aware? Unaware. So level of, I'm not aware. So you have to be, am I supporting you? I'm not going to support you. Level of support, interested. I'm not sure because I can't support you at this point. You know, level of, I should be interested. So the level of it, I'm interested to know what is going on. But I'm not aware of what you are doing. And because of that, I'm not supporting you. Supportive? No. Okay. This is my current relationship with you. You have to tell yourself the truth. If you are collecting money for this meetup and you've not discussed that with me. Then, desire, where do you want me? Because I'm not supporting you. You can see here, you can't get my support. Some of you that I'm deleting there, this thing, I'm not getting because I don't know what you are doing. Then you are trying to do your gap analysis here to make sure that you get my support. This is where you are trying to buy me in. How do you buy? Charles has not been supporting me. How do I buy this man in here? So what you do is that level of awareness desired. He's not been aware, so I want him to be aware. So I will try to make him, everything I'll do, I'll try to tell him. And the level of interest, I want him to be interested in whatever I'm doing. I want him to be supporting me. I want his support. This is what you should be working on, trying to get me to be here. This is where I am at the moment. This is where, so that is the stakeholder analysis. You're analyzing my relationship. That is how you analyze your relationship with all the stakeholders. Then you come over here, communication method. Well, stakeholders, you try to understand their various means of communication. For me, in our project, let's see, I prefer using WhatsApp. So, some people prefer email. You choose their own. So, responsibility of who should be communicating, Charles, project manager. Who is the project manager? All of you knows who is the leading in that event. So it should be the project lead. All of you are project manager, but he's the lead. So let's say, let me call it project lead, because all of you are project manager. So frequency as you can say once in a week or once a week, because you are the method of communication in WhatsApp. Some people can say you can put email. You have to have my phone call, my phone number 080 and then if the method of communication is email, you capture my email. If it's every this thing, please let this baby's voice stop coming in here. So, and we have communication log. For some of you that have been you're trying to communicate with me, you post something and I delete it, you know. See? You can just feedback log. It's always deleting my posts whenever I post situation. So you have to be, you know, these are aware of analyzing. I'm trying to use a live scenario to communicate about this stakeholder analysis document. So this is how we're going to use. I'm going to make this document available. This is what we're going to use to capture our stakeholders and manage our stakeholders. You see, this document captures these two communication sheets and involvement worksheet. So that's it for now for stakeholder analysis. Another one which we need to quickly finish before we go tonight is RACI metrics. We need to look at this RACI metric because it's a way of analyzing stakeholders as well. RACI metrics, more especially in our team. So this is what we're gonna do. When we finish this, I think we should be done. I'm trying to be very fast. So what is RACI metrics? RACI metrics is also known as a responsibility assignment metrics. It's a tool used in project management to define roles and responsibilities of various team members for each task and deliverable within the project. RACI stands for R is for responsible, A for accountable, C for consulted, and I is for informed. So responsible, the person who performed the task. Accountable, the person ultimately answers for the completion of the task, which is the project manager in so many cases. There should typically only be one accountable person in a project. Consulted, someone whose input is valuable in completing the task. Informed, someone who needs to be kept up to date on the progress of the task. So these are the people that you need to understand how you communicate in a project. This is no longer you communicating with the stakeholders by doing stakeholder analysis. This is you within your team members. Everybody needs to understand their role and responsibilities. Avoid some people being overzealous, they've not done their own work, but they want to venture into their work. So, but when everybody knows what they are doing, some people will not be doing overzealousness or eye service in order to impress the project manager because they know what they are doing. Or some people that don't want to do anything, they want everybody, they just want to be relaxed and people will be doing their job. With this kind of arrangement, everybody knows what they are doing. So the benefit here is clarity and transparency. The RACI matrix clearly defines roles and responsibility, reducing confusion and finger pointing. Improves accountability by assigning clear accountability. The RACI ensures ownership of the completed task or completion of tasks. So it's the duty of the project manager to make sure that the work is going on. Let me show you briefly here in this project here. Let's see all the work we are doing here. So this is one of the project, my team here in UK. Let's see here, read meeting or okay, let's see business case here. This is the business case, and here is undue. You see, this particular create business case is I am the project manager here. I'm the project manager. We have three different project manager here. I'm the project manager. Cynthia is the project manager. Babajide is a project manager. Then we have business analysts. These are Agnes is a business analyst. Abdul is a business analyst. NBC, Shayo, Vishal, they're all business analysts. So the project manager assigned these responsibilities to the business analyst to create a business case on so date. So this project is meant to complete on Wednesday, March 13. That is the due date. And you see here, you say, when done, notify who. That is completion. When this work is done, these are the people that is accountable, and these are people that are responsible. When you are doing a RACI metric, you see these people that are assigned, this work is assigned to them, is their responsibility. And notify these people, we have three accountability. So let's say one of us here is the lead project manager. Let's say I'm the lead project manager here. So I should be the ultimate person that should be accountable. And let's say Cynthia is the project coordinator and Babajide is the project support officer. But all of us are working in the project management capacity, and all others are working in the business analysis capacity. So that is, so now you see them, the way they are submitting their deliverables here. You see Vishal, the BC have submitted. You see others here. That is how they are submitting. And once they submit, all I need to do is review their work and make sure that their work is completed within the standard I want it. And that is how I'll be reviewing all these other works going on here. So a lot of all their deliverables, that's how they are going to be reviewed. I see some people, some of these stages, some people have archived it, which I need to go back and bring it back. So, but that is how we manage a project. Okay. Let's go back to our main document. So that is where we come in here. We're trying to talk about RACI, terms of accountability. So continuing with the benefit, enhance communication. The RACI metrics foster communication by identifying who need to be involved at each stage of the task. Effective resource allocation by understanding who is responsible and consulted for task resource can be allocated effectively. So how do we create these RACI metrics? Here is it. List all the project tasks or deliverable across the top row, then list all the project team members down the first column. Assign RACI code RACI on each of the members in relation to the task. So let's see how it's done practical. The best practice is that this RACI involves key stakeholders in developing the RACI. You have to involve key stakeholders, make sure that everybody understands their role, ensure RACI metrics is clear, concise, and easy to understand. It should be easy to understand. No team member should struggle understanding their role or their responsibilities. Communicate RACI to all team members. Every team member should have a copy of the RAID and how it works. Review and update RACI as the program. If we are having more team members joining the project, meaning responsibilities need to change or we keep on reviewing it and updating and having meetings, letting people know that more people ended. And then so looking at this document here, this is how a RAID should be. Under this within here you see activities and deliverables. This is where you list down all the activities that are going to take place. Looking at our meetup event, we need to list all the activities we need to do, everything we need to do. I created a template for that activity, which I shared, and I believe all the team members should have a copy of that template. With that template, you should be able to create a RACI. So you should list all the activities here, and then under here you create the team members or the roles. You come over here, you start assigning activity per who is responsible per each activity, just the way this is done. So without wasting time, let me jump into we'll have a copy of RACI here we are going to be using. So this is it here. This is a copy I'm going to share with you, where all of you are going to use for this project. So now you see here, receive project mandate, who is supposed to do that. You come over here, is responsible of project manager and the responsibility. So here we see responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. And then we see some people, they are going to be accountable and it's still their responsibility to do that. like a project manager, there are some documents that a project manager should create, in as much as he's accountable, making sure that he's being created as the person, but he's the person that is supposed to do that. On that note, such people here should be responsible and accountable as well. So, assemble project team, like in this our project event coming on, the team lead should assemble all the projects. It can come to a group. When you come to the group, in your group, announce that we are going to have this. You can create a team, a kind of a meeting like this using Microsoft Teams. Invite your team members for you to have brainstorming on how to do that. If you like, you can invite me. If you cannot, you might not. But the main thing is that I should know that you are doing that. So you can assemble the project team, define roles and responsibilities. Who is going to do that in managing the event? Is the project manager is going to still do that? Identify stakeholders. Who is the need to identify the stakeholders in the project? Who facilitates the initial? So the business analyst is now facilitating the request because it's his duty to collect the requirement and analyze the requirement. So these are the things that need to be done. Identifying stakeholders. Everybody here needs to identify various stakeholders we are working with. And you see here, both business analysts identifying stakeholder, developer identifying stakeholder, project support officer, because you need some people you need to report to. So that's why you need to identify. So this is how a RACI should looks like. It's a very simple document, and I don't think it's very difficult to understand. So these are three things you need to do for me. You need to first create a RAID log. Use this RAID log to capture risk. Then secondly, you need to do stakeholder analysis using this document. Thirdly, you need to create a RACI to make sure that your team understand what they are doing. So I don't think it's too much to ask. So that's done. The last but not the least is change management. This change management here is trying to manage the change in ongoing project. Change management is the process of managing change to the project scope, baseline, and schedule. It ensures that the projects are implemented in a controlled and coordinated manner to minimize disruption and maintain project objectives. Benefit: it improves project flexibility, adaptability, and changing circumstances, reduce risk of project scope creep and the uncontrolled changes, increase stakeholders buy-in for approved changes, enhance communication and transparency around the project change. How do we create this change management process? First, define a clear process for submitting, reviewing, and approving change requests. Establish change control board to evaluate the impact of the proposed change. Develop a communication plan to notify stakeholders of approved change. Update project documentation, which is work breakdown structure, schedule, and budget to reflect approved changes. Monitor the impact of changes and make adjustments as needed. So the best practice here is document all the changes and their rationale for the changes. Communicate change effectively. to all stakeholders impacted by the change, provide training and support to users affected by the change to the project scope, continuously evaluate the effectiveness of the change management process. So that is about change management. And this is the key steps in trying to create a change. Here, looking at this process flow, first here, initiate. Under initiation of change, you need a change request. Apply for change. You need a change request form, which you need to capture the change and submit it. Then assessment of the change is evaluated by the board you created already, change evaluation board, and they do the analysis, analyze the change, and do the approval or deny the approving the change. Once it's approved, then implement the change and then close the change request. So this is a form we can use, a simple form we can use to capture change request. Within this form, you can see here, this is change control sheet or change request form, whichever name you want to give it. You need to capture the project title, the number, the project manager, the change request, the originator who is bringing this change within the existing project, the number, the dates, items to be changed or considered for change, references. Then describe the changes in terms of resources, a reason for the changes, benefits, and dates. Then here is the resources. Capture the cost and the timeline for the changes, the priority, stroke constraints, and then evaluation. Who did the evaluation and who is it affecting? What is the impact? These are things you need to do and the work required in order to implement this change. So this is how you capture a change. If you want to add another scope on the already existing scope, this is the way you capture it, evaluate it, both the impact and the cost before accepting or adding the change. So that is it. That is what we'll have for tonight. And you can see we'll have a lot to do already. In our next session, we'll start looking at various tools we are going to use in developing all this documentation via these various strategies. So that is it for tonight. And I know we are almost more than 1 hour above our time. Yeah, but it's because we covered a lot tonight. So we'll still have time for question, because I know you are going into become a bit busy. So I can see confusion is some people are beginning to scratch their head, and this is what you are meant to do. You are not just meant to come here and be looking at and listening at me. You have to be busy. So, and that's what it should be. So, thank you for listening. You can see that tonight it works. Nobody is no disturbance. Can see what really happened. What's the magic? So, okay. I'll start by the people raising their hand. I can see Gloria Mbong. So try to address as much as we can, and then you go and face your assignment. Please, I want us to, as quickly as possible. I've mentioned somebody's name, and if you don't respond, I'll jump you and mention another person, and I'll come back to you.
I'm here. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so when you were talking about the probability index matrix, you gave an instance where rain was falling. You said the situation was that rain was falling, and then we had to hire a canopy. So in that chart, where do we indicate that aspect of hiring a canopy?
I didn't say that rain is falling. I said that the probability of raining on that day is a risk, because it has not, we're looking at, will the rain fall or not? You know, that's what we're saying. These are various risks we're trying to capture in our events. So, is it going to rain or not? It's a risk. It might start raining on that day. So, like I said, we captured it as a risk and manage it as a risk. So it's left for us to evaluate the probability of rain falling, looking at the month of the year. If we're in September, we have to do our analysis. We have to do our brainstorming. This is the 4th month of the year, which is November. What are the climate or the geography telling us about November if we are doing activity on on April? So it's left for you to do the work. So go and do your evaluation and do your work. Am I communicating, people?
Yes, but is there not a space where we can indicate that, oh, we've hired, you said we've hired the canopy?
That's why I said I've already told you that is a risk. Are you not getting it?
I get you, sir.
So you're telling me that I said when you are capturing it a risk, in this kind of risk, you capture this in red log. You capture it as, I've already answered the question, you capture it as a risk. In red log, when you write it, you decide, is it going to be risk? Is it going to be issue? Is it going to be dependency? At this point, it's still a risk, because he has not, if he has hype for his raining, you say it's an issue. If you people on that day didn't capture this risk, rain as a risk, it means you didn't do your risk management. But if it start happening that day that it started raining, and you people are already on your event and it started raining and you didn't manage it as a risk, you didn't capture it, meaning that the team did a very bad work, it started raining, then what you need to do is manage the issue. So managing the issue is, if you people have money in your purse, all you need to do is quickly run into a restaurant and start paying for food in order to occupy a space there. You know, meaning that at least you've got somewhere to stay and still have some activity goes on. So all you are trying to do is making sure that that day is not ruined. You know, but if you have managed the risk very well, raining shouldn't be, well, we are used to rain, more especially those in Lagos. So, any more question? I hope you are comfortable, you are satisfied.
Yes, I am. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Nicole, Chioma.
Good evening, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My question is on probability impact matrix. In that particular, you talked about the thresholds for that. This the particular chart you gave us here. You talked about the thresholds for low, moderate, or high risk.
Hmm.
But my question, like, I'm very confused where the numbers are coming from. The 5, the 10 high, 4 moderate. Is it a constant, or where is the number gotten from? Where you see 12 high, 9 moderate, 2 low, and all that? I'm very, very
It's
confused,
a
sir.
brainstorming. You can use your brainstorming to add numbers. It's not static. So you can
Okay,
use
sir.
your own brainstorming to say, you can remove that moderate high. You can just say high, or it's just say low. You can. So it's something you use your ingenuity. So it's just a framework. So the way a company A is doing it different from a company A, B is doing it. So it's not like mathematics, you do it, it must be no. But it's a way of managing it and saying that the main thing is capturing that probability, certain, likely, and then once you have certain, likely, then you have the impact. And then the measurement where you say this is critical. What is the significance? What is the impact? The way we measure impact is high impact, low impact, medium impact. So all those 4 moderate doesn't count. You can just remove it and just use moderate but it's just a way of capturing more distance.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Obinna John.
Okay, present. I have 2 questions. Number one is that in the case that our contingency money is untouched, and will it be returned to the sponsor of the project?
Of course, is it your money?
Okay, the next one
is the project money. So that will help you to get a promotion. Or if you are a contract staff, then they'll make you a permanent staff.
The second one is our respondents when it comes to those matrix, like during our brainstorming, since they are not scientifically based knowledge, can it be said that they are guaranteed their respondents, their responses?
Which can you say that again?
Our correspondents when it comes to getting responses on the matrix, whether it's going to rain or not. So the responses we get, since they are just from brainstorming, perhaps the team members and some stakeholders, are their responses, since they are not scientifically based, are their responses guaranteed?
Are they not your team member? Their responses, like if you are following what I was saying, I said we're already having a chaos here where some people are saying likely, most likely, and people are already fighting. So I said in our group, we can create a pool where we say likely and not likely. And you see, we vote. Like now we come to, let's use Lagos, mainland, we have up to 400 people. It's going to be difficult. So, but once we create a pool, likely and most likely, and say, if you say most likely, vote mostly. Before 3 minutes, we'll get the answer. You see where everybody responded. And if majority say that it's going to be most likely, we take most likely. It's not what you want, it's what the team wants. That will call it a team brainstorming. Nobody should take, if you are managing it, I'm the project manager, no. That's where you start getting, because you are not carrying everybody along. It's not your project, it's a team project.
Okay.
Okay, Lovette Adora. Chizoba Onsi.
Good evening, Charles. So my question is on the project costs. Like there was a time you mentioned that if during the course of the project you run out of money, you go back to the sponsor or the stakeholder to tell them that the estimate that you didn't estimate, whether you didn't make, like you've already run out of money. So I was wondering, wouldn't it look unprofessional? And what if, and the second thing is, what if the person that you're doing the project for refuses to give extra money?
That's why you need to plan very well and do a documentation on how you spend your money. You can't just know where you didn't show evidence of how you spend your money and you're asking for more money. That's why you have project planning, where you allocate your money. Every money you are spending in project, there is allocation. You allocated the money, because it's unprofessional for you not to have a project plan and then go and start requesting for more money. There is no transparency. You didn't show how you spend that money. But if there is transparency, you've allocated all the money from when the project is starting to when the project is ending, and all of a sudden there is a lockdown. Everybody is saying COVID, the next wave of COVID is coming, and they shut every place down for another 1 month. You see, in a situation like this, it can increase your timeline for the project. Some activity in that project might be affected by some, unforeseen circumstances. These are situations. Or somebody within the project got sick and couldn't get replaced. So you must show how that money, that lapse comes in before you. That's why you need to convince the stake. You can't just go, I need more money. No, they will just sack you because you don't know what. But if you have documentation, how you spend your money, and that documentation, they already submitting, you do what you call weekly status report, where you report what you are doing. So your project plan, your sponsor already seen your project plan, how you plan this project. You've seen how you allocated the money even before that. So he already knows that you are going to need money. He just be waiting for you to come and make a normal documentation or more normal professional request about more funding. Not that they don't know. If you are being a good project manager, you are carrying them along. So even in a 2 week, a 1 month before then, they already know, because they are following events. You are reporting on weekly basis what you are doing. They are seeing how you are spending that money. But if nobody knows what you are doing, from nowhere you just come up, I need more money. For what?
Thank you.
Victoria Sunday.
Good evening, sir. My question is on stakeholder analysis. Is it a one-time thing, or they are not carried out at every stage in the project management life cycle?
You are not following. It seems you are sleeping. Because if you are following us, I'll say that it's a continuous process. When there is a stakeholder, when there is a change, you always update, you always refine. Even in the racing metrics, I said it, that after creating a racing metric and there is a new members joining the project, you need to update it to reflect the members, and stakeholders are joining project at some stage, at different stage. So you keep on updating to reflect the current what's going on. In no document is a one-off document. I said it. That's why there's constant communication, constant updating. That is what we are doing. Don't think that I've done my stakeholder analysis, I've thank God. No. It's a continuous.
Very much.
Obinna John, I've spoken to you, so try to be
Yeah, it's a fresh hand.
no, you don't do that. We can't talk to you twice in a session. So if you don't have any other person in this, then we'll call it a session. And you go and do your job. If there's any other thing you do not understand, then you have to go and do brainstorm. You have to go and read. I'm not here to teach you everything. Some things, all of us here, what we are doing here, we are consultants. As a project manager, you are a consultant. Some things you go and read it up. Even when we are in school, you read. You see people doing research. You see people profess. You read. You don't wait for a lecturer to teach you everything. Some little this thing, you already know the keywords there. You Google it, or you even ask a ChatGPT to explain it for you. So this is how this works, okay? So read up some things that are still confusing you, and I'm expecting your deliverable. So all I owe you now is to share this template with you, and I want this, all this, I want this to be happen within 1 week. Before the next time we meet, I want to see a group work showing up. I want to see every team members posting their work on their status in our group, in our not WhatsApp group. Please don't post your work in WhatsApp group. It's going to make it filthy. Go to Facebook group. When you finish your work, you want me to review, go to Facebook group and post it. Don't attach it to our course portal. That is the way I do it. If I'm having a smaller class, they attach it, I'll download and review. But I'm not going to download 1,000 or 2,000 documents on my, I'm not gonna do that. So, and this brings to what we have here to an end. And it's a long class, and I wish you good night rest.
Thank you very much.
Sir.